Hi, I'm Stephanie Kalogriopoulos. I am the writer and director of Dicktation, a short film about three women who go in for a life-changing interview, and it's not what you expect.
So you went to UW-Madison, correct? And
Yes.
then you went to UCLA, and
Hmm.
then you ended up in New York, and you worked at the Studio Drama School.
Yep, I got my MFA from the Actor Studio Drama School.
You've been working on your writing career for a long time, going to school to school to school, and now you're based in New York. When did you leave the Wisconsin area?
Yeah, so I left Wisconsin. I didn't leave Wisconsin until 2019, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, the program that I did with UCLA, it was actually remote, the program that I did. So I actually lived in Milwaukee while I was doing it.
wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So you didn't have to leave family and friends.
No, I finished my BA at Madison. I moved back to Milwaukee for like 4 years. And during that time, I was like working in Milwaukee and then I did the program as well.
It must have been tough during the pandemic too, when you're going to online school, but you have to kind of like work at the same time, and it's all kind of like stuck at home.
Yeah, well, it was funny because so I did UCLA, I did that program in 2018. So it was before the pandemic and everything it was remote. So it was Skype classes before we even knew that as a thing. So it was a little preview of what my grad school would be like.
When did you move out to New York then?
Fall of 2019 is when I started my program.
Okay. In your bio, it says this is the first film that you wrote and directed. Did you write other projects before that other people might have directed, or is this the first project?
So I've written with UCLA, I wrote two features. One was written in like 12 weeks, which was intense. And I've written other short films. I've helped out write, like help write short films. And then like the grad program that I did was actually in playwriting. So I did playwriting and screenwriting. So I wrote like some plays that were produced and all that good stuff. But this is the first time I took a script that I wrote and I directed it myself.
Have you directed anything else before this, or is this the first project that made you think I want to be behind the camera?
So I wanted to be behind the camera for a bit, because I had been working on my writing craft for years, and I just thought that I couldn't direct for some reason. I just had that in my mind that I was like, oh, I'm more of a writer. And I was like, I think I want to do more than writing. And I just kind of see my films so visually. I was like, wait, why can't I direct? And so I had that feeling for a while, and I was just like, I just don't know where to start. And I was like, well, I have this short film. Parameters are pretty simple. Let me give this a try and see how it goes.
How do you like the process? You want to continue being a filmmaker?
It is so fun. I mean, because I still get to do the writing part that I know I love, but it's so rewarding going from step to step to step because I edited the film as well, which was a whole other thing. Um, but no, absolutely. It is so fun to just be on set with the crew and your actors. And like, it was just such a great time. And obviously, a feature film or a longer short is a more daunting task and more, but we had so much fun making this film.
That's great. Where did this idea come from? Because I think this is something that a lot of women go through. Was this an idea that was stuck in your head a long time as I need to put this to paper?
So I'm gonna try to answer these as best as I can without spoiling what the film is about, because I feel
Yeah.
like that's the punch of it, you know? You go in thinking that you're getting one thing and it becomes this whole other thing. Um, Essentially, it was fall of like 2021, so I had just started my last year of grad school, and I read an article in the news. I won't say what it's about because it'll just entirely spoil the film, but it was just something that was just ridiculous and crazy. And the premise of the article just sounded like it was something that would happen not in 2021, but like 100 years ago. I was like, this straight up just sounds like an article that was written 100 years ago. How is this happening today? I was like, if this is happening right now in 2021, like what direction are we headed to? So I really started, and then I had this like huge idea at first, and I was like, well, I want to make this simple and I want to make this into something that I can actually shoot and make on a not so big budget. And so I thought of this idea for this short film, and it's kind of showing a very realistic setting that everyone can agree with. They've all been in that position before of an interview. Taking that setting and putting it up against a scenario that's just ridiculous and wild. And so you have this realism and this heightened realism, and then they come together, and it's like, this would never happen. Wait, actually, maybe like one day I can actually kind of see this happening. And that's
Yeah,
terrifying. So,
it is funny, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, I think this situation has happened many times. Yeah, and
right.
it's not a funny experience, but it's how you bring it out is
Hmm.
the satire is funny.
And at first, so I just deal with very serious things with comedy because it just makes me feel better, especially like things that I've had to encounter as a woman. You just got to laugh it off. That's like a coping mechanism, I guess. So I kind of always knew it wasn't going to be a drama. I knew I was going to lean into the comedy a little bit. I didn't think it was going to be as satirical until I really started like doing storyboarding for it and being like, what does this actually look like? And then the ending of it, yeah, I mean, I didn't have that written out till maybe a week before shooting. I was really struggling with the script, especially because you're taking this huge topic and I'm condensing it into such a short amount of time. I was really struggling with how do I want to wrap this up? And I was like, I think I just got to lean into the satire, I think is what I need to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
it just naturally kind of led into that direction.
Is comedy something that you lean to more?
It's a newer thing for me. I was very like realistic dramas, 21st century type of things until I got grad school. And I think that just the classes I was taking, professors that I had, everything was really leaning me into that, which was great because it was like a strength of mine. And I was like, no, I think I want to try doing 180. So then I started, doing thrillers and dark comedies. And so it's still very new territory for me, but it's such a fun challenge that I just love it.
Great. What else are you working on? Is there do you have another project brewing?
Yeah, so I have a feature that is written. I am doing rewrites to it. I'm kind of reconceptualizing it a little bit because I had this idea one day and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing for it. And I was like, well, this idea changes everything else with it. So I'm doing rewrites for that. But I think my next film that I want to make is going to be a proof of concept for that feature. So I think that's what's on the docket.
How's this film doing on the festival circuit?
So I'm still waiting to hear back from a lot of film festivals. I just recently got into the Women's Film Festival in Philadelphia. And next week, the first week of August, I hear back from like three back to back to back. And I'm like, that's gonna be a terrifying week. But yeah, it's just getting started.
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.